If you've been scrolling through endless lists of electric scooters, folding kick scooters, and mountain bike-style rigs and still feel stuck on which one actually makes sense for a weekend trail, this review is here to clear that up. I've spent the last couple of weeks taking the NANROBOT LS7 Plus off-road scooter out of the box, folding it up in the trunk of my SUV, and testing it on everything from gravel fire roads to a slick, leaf-covered park path. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, let's talk about the hesitation most buyers feel. The biggest worry with an adult-size off-road scooter is whether it will actually hold up when you throw it at real terrain instead of just the glossy showroom floor. You also wonder if the price justifies the promise of all-terrain mastery, or if you're better off buying a cheap folding bike that can handle the same trails. The LS7 Plus tries to answer those doubts by focusing on two things that matter in the field: a sturdy frame that can take a rider up to about 250 pounds without flexing, and a suspension system that lets you stay upright when the ground gets rough. The question is whether those claims translate into a practical experience you'll be happy to repeat. Who should consider this scooter? If you're an outdoor enthusiast who likes to cover more ground than a traditional hike but doesn't want to lug a heavy bike, the LS7 Plus slots into that niche nicely. It's especially handy for people who need a compact, foldable ride to get to a trailhead where parking is tight, or for commuters who want a weekend escape after a day at the office. The scooter's folding mechanism is simple enough that you can pop it out of a car trunk in under a minute, and the handlebar width is adjustable, so you can dial it in for a taller rider or a shorter one without buying any extra parts. On the flip side, if you're looking for a high-speed commuter that can zip through city traffic at 25 miles per hour, or if you expect to take the LS7 Plus on paved highways, you'll be disappointed. The scooter is built for standing kick propulsion, not for motorized thrust, so you'll be putting your own leg power into every mile. That's great for workouts, but not ideal if you're hoping to save sweat on a daily commute. Also, anyone who's under 5 feet 4 inches may find the deck a bit cramped, especially when trying to keep balance on uneven surfaces. Now, onto the practical strengths I observed. The first thing that stood out was the frame's confidence. The chassis feels like it was forged from an aerospace-grade alloy, and when I leaned into a steep, rocky descent on a local state park trail, there was no wobble or unsettling creak. The reinforced steel tubes seemed to absorb the shock rather than transmit it, which made the ride feel smoother than I expected for a standing scooter. The front brake lever, which is a dual-disc system, responded instantly even when the ground was slick with mud. That kind of stopping power matters when you're navigating a sudden drop-off and you need to halt without scrambling for your foot. Another real-world advantage is the customizable riding position. The LS7 Plus lets you shift the handlebars up or down and lock them in place. When I raised the bars for a more upright posture, my back stayed comfortable on a 6-kilometer stretch of forest path that included a few steep climbs. When I lowered them for a more aggressive stance, I could push off with more power on the flatter sections, and the scooter responded with a steadier grip. That adaptability is something you don't see on most budget off-road scooters, which usually have a fixed geometry. The folding mechanism also earned points in my book. It's a 2-step latch that clicks solidly, and once folded, the scooter's overall length shrinks to a size that fits comfortably in the back seat of a mid-size car. I was able to take the LS7 Plus on a road trip, load it into the trunk, and pull it out again after a day of hiking without any tools or fuss. For people who live in apartments or need to store gear in a small garage, that portability is a genuine selling point. No product is perfect, and the LS7 Plus has a few trade-offs that matter once you own it. The first is weight. At roughly 30 pounds, it's heavier than a typical city kick scooter, which means you'll need to be comfortable lifting it upstairs or onto a roof rack. The extra mass is part of why the frame feels so solid, but it does add a bit of a hurdle if you plan to carry it up to a high-altitude trailhead. Second, the deck surface, while wide enough for most adult feet, does not have any tread pattern. When you hit wet leaves or loose gravel, the foot can slip a little, so you'll need to stay aware of your footing, especially on steep descents. I found that wearing shoes with a good grip helped mitigate this issue, but it's something to keep in mind.